I'll give you some small tea. I can't even tell you how many incarcerated men try to join our group constantly, and people that are COs or in power positions or in work for the Department of Defense.
Yeah.
Like, trying to get in love within walls. Sir, you are not a prison wife.
This is not thrilling and fun for me. Like, this is not a rush. I don't get off dating someone or being married to someone or committed to someone that's in prison. You know, we have to do better as a society. We treat the undesirables as if they're subhuman. Incarcerated, people with low socioeconomic status. We need to do better. If we're this wonderful country that's great and loving and caring and happiness for everybody, then why are we wishing death upon people?
The old people who are losing everything, it is so sad. I don't even know how, my brain can't even, work its way around it.
Yeah, and it's spreading so fast, and it's starting to impact so many communities and, animals, people's homes. I mean, everybody.
The last article I saw is totaling over 1,000 now that have been deployed to go fight these fires.
I didn't realize that this incarcerated firefighter program began in 1950, 1915.
How if you are an incarcerated firefighter and you die fighting these fires, you don't get any kind of benefits.
I was going to tell you that yesterday when I went to brunch with my friend and my mom, I got accused of having hybristophilia.
By who?
By one of my best friends, by the one that I came out to. And I said, this was my response. I said, he's like, there's a condition for that, right? And I said, you mean hybristophilia? And he's like, you know about it? And he's like, yeah, there's a term for it. And I said, yeah, we talk about it. We've actually talked about it on a podcast, And he's like, yeah. It's like, do you think you have that or whatever? And I'm like, no, because this is not thrilling and fun for me. Like, this is not a rush. I don't get off dating someone or being married to someone or committed to someone that's in prison, but it's even funny, like, my friends think that that's like, I want a bad boy, and that's why,
I don't know how many times we have to say that there are worse men not incarcerated than the men that are incarcerated. Like, Joseph, did he do a terrible thing and committed a crime that landed him in prison for this long-term sentence? Yes, but, like, he's reforming himself and, making amends for the things that he did. He's not actively, like, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like that term is, someone like us wouldn't seek, like, we're not actively seeking someone who's doing bad things. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
Like, speaking of bad things.
Oh, hey, Joe.
My honey.
Tell him I said hi.
But,
okay, go ahead.
But that just makes me so mad, because I'm just like, because they committed a crime.
Yeah.
Like, his crime is a big part of him, but it is not even, like, 1/4 of the person that he is.
Yeah. And I was just thinking, like you said, like, they're not doing bad things. I'm like, my husband's a grandpa. He's 46 years old, and tell Joe I said, hey, Joe.
Do you want to say hi?
Hi, Joe.
Say hi.
Hi, hi, Gigi. Hi, Gigi. Hi, everyone. What's going on?
How are you doing today?
Well, I just got back from breakfast right now, and probably gonna watch. I'm a Broncos fan. Probably watch the Broncos here in a little bit, and try to get some work done.
All right. Well, go Broncos.
I know. Hopefully they win. I don't have too much expectation, but hopefully they do. But I got some college work I got to do, and so yeah, just trying to stay productive and busy. And then obviously when you guys get done with your pod, talk to Paige and stuff, and yeah. How's everything going?
It's going good here. It's just cold. Are y'all safe from the fires?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
everything where I'm at.
It goes out like that.
Oh,
But
it does that?
he'll come back in and have no idea in
That
like a
he was
second.
talking this whole time?
Yeah, and he can usually hear us.
Okay.
Hello.
You know?
Yeah, Joe. No one heard what you said, babe. It cut out the whole time.
Oh, my bad. I just said that. Yeah, no, we're good down here. But yeah, it's devastating what's going on over there. I don't think people like understand the wind. It's crazy because we had the same type of winds down here. It's just thank God there was no sparks and no one trying to set fires or anything like that. But yeah, no, when the Santa Ana winds kick up down here, it's devastating.
Yeah. Yeah. I saw some videos of the winds and they're like violent and brutal. It's pretty it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they get to hurricane force type of winds. It's yeah, it is. It's pretty insane, and especially like down here in Southern California, it's already really dry. So I mean, all you need is a spark, and it can just be devastating, like what happened in the LA area. And I hope that they're all able to recover, and yeah, it sucks. A lot of people losing their livelihoods and stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I hope the Broncos win and I
God.
wait, what did he say?
Well, oh, sorry. Go ahead, Gigi. Sorry.
There's nothing that makes me more fucking angry than this
The
fucking
delay.
delay. And I'm
Yeah.
so glad that we are recording it because this is something that I deal with every fucking day.
And it's not, yeah, and I'm sure I've dealt with it, but we've had it before and it happens sometimes. So this is an everyday occurrence, you guys. So clearly you can get a picture of what life is like on the phone with our honeys. But I was saying, Joe, that I hope you have a great day and I hope the Broncos win for you. And I hope you get, like you said, you were doing some college studies. So congrats to you for working on a Sunday. That's major props there.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I gotta get on it. And you guys take care. Have a great pod. And yeah, I'll talk to you later, baby.
Okay, love you, honey.
Okay, I love you too. All right, bye.
Aw.
Yeah,
I know. It's
that's
frustrating.
hyperbristophilia. Like that man,
Yeah.
please.
Please.
But
Like I was,
seriously,
I was saying, Mike is like a 46-year-old grandfather. I mean, he goes to bed at like 9 o'clock, wakes up at 5. Like he's not like this crazy. Like he lives a mainly boring life. He paints, he works out, and he helps out around the tier and cleans up. I mean, we're not talking about this crazy psychopath person, that people try to make this monster. He's just a normal old dude.
trying to self-regulate myself after that because that shit is the shit that really just pisses me off.
Yeah.
Not the hyperbrist, but the fucking delays in the phone because that shit has been getting worse and worse, and they don't do
Well,
anything to ever fucking fix it.
yeah, and I was gonna say they don't. Well, first of all, they don't care. They don't care to
No.
fix it.
Mm.
And then also, people don't realize too. Doing this is a stream, so there's also a delay between us as
Mm-hmm.
well. So it's like it probably only made the delay that
It
much like
did,
more
and that's why it's just
magnified.
painful. So I was just like, all right, let's get off the phone. Like I can't.
But it was good to hear from Joe. It really was. I'm glad he's
Mm-hmm.
doing well and he's safe and he's being productive today because
Always
I know a
is.
lot of us are probably like, yeah, I ain't doing work today. So,
He does more on a Sunday than I do as an incarcerated man, and he, still will get the rap of being, a terrible violent offender. So,
yeah, that's sad
and we have
because he's such a good guy.
we have hyperbristophilia.
Yeah.
So,
Oh gosh, my hair's sticking up. We totally have hyperbristophilia, y'all. Just saying. I've been doing this for almost a decade at this point, and yeah, that's the only force that drives me to stay for almost a decade is hyperbristophilia.
is this a disability, and can I get money for it?
Can I see compensation?
Yeah, like, hello, is this? Remember when someone tried to tell us it was in the DSM?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's my money and I need it now.
Yeah, period.
Anyway, so Paige, can I just ask before we start, how was your weekend?
It was good. Actually, I took my little man to his first, he got invited to his first birthday party that was not like a
Aw.
family one.
Yeah.
So we went to that. That was fun, him getting to hang out with his little buddy. It was funny because I'm not used to like being in situations where people like ask about like, significant others or something. But the one person that we were with made mention of Brody's dad and spoke of him, referring to him as my husband, and was
Oh.
like, "Oh, did your husband do that?" And I just like sat there for a minute. And I was like, "I'm like, well, my husband is over 1,000 miles away, but
Did you tell them about Joe or you just
I
kind
did."
of?
I didn't
Oh,
because
okay.
I didn't even get into the lore of like where Brody's dad is, because this was like the first time I was meeting all of them, so I was like, I better, my
Yeah.
lore is deep and I'll just keep it at this for now. The first time I'm meeting some,
Yeah. Okay. I
you
just
know,
didn't know
some
how you navigate that, like,
telling
you know,
people. I've
or when
literally.
people say, or when people say like, Brody's maybe his father, his biological father is your, how do you handle it when they say like, oh, that's your husband, but clearly it's not.
Well, that's like the first time I've had to, and I feel like I'm going to be put in more situations where I will,
Mhm.
because Brody is in school now and I'll have to like meet parents and meet coaches and stuff. So, like, I think it's just going to be like a learning experience, and I'll kind of like make my way through that. But it also, it's a weird added part that we have a podcast that is like, not like a private thing, so like they could
Yeah.
come across it, and I would hope that that would never like change anyone's feelings about me, but I'm in this day and age, I'm sure it would make some people's heads turn, and as long as it doesn't reflect upon like, Brody,
Yeah.
that's really the
I,
only thing I would care about.
I would think that it wouldn't, because I'll say this, like a lot of my coworkers have found the pod through
Hmm.
TikTok. TikTok doesn't lie on you guys. So when you start liking stuff, some of the stuff you like pops up on their For You page,
Hmm.
and several of my coworkers have even commented, liked, followed. And I every time something happens, the first person I run to is Paige, and I'm like, oh god, oh god, oh fuck, oh, is it 10 minutes? Yes. Oh fuck. Okay. So I was like, oh fuck, another coworker knows,
Hmm.
and so far. I don't talk about it at work. I don't bring it up. I don't think they have the balls to bring it up, because I feel like that's something like
It's a
it's 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 a different life. Like, this is my professional life and this is my personal life, and I don't
feel
mix the two.
feel that.
So I don't think, not that they don't have balls. I don't want to say it like that, but I mean, like, it takes a lot of ball. Well, it does take a lot of balls to just randomly go, so I saw you have a podcast, or so I know you're with somebody that's incarcerated,
Hmm.
So, but I will say I was very nervous about people treating me differently, but nobody has really treated me differently. So,
Good. I'm
yeah,
glad they shouldn't, because,
no.
I mean, you're
Yeah.
the same
I th-
person that they knew.
Nothing's changed. I'm
Yeah.
still, I mean, I think people are a little shocked. And I've gotten this comment where, I didn't realize you talk that much. Like, I didn't realize you're a talker, because in real life, I'm not a talker. Like, this is very comfortable for me and I
Yeah.
don't have a problem talking. Like, my Gemini self, like,
Mhm.
sometimes I'll be very introverted. Here is where I'm very extroverted, because I feel comfortable.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm just one of those people that kind of sits back and just watches and observes. So people are like, "I- I've known you for years and I didn't know you can talk that much." Because usually I'm the listener in the group.
Hey. Well, now
So,
they can hear you.
yeah, here
You
we go.
talk.
I can talk about this all day, y'all. Like, I can literally
Period.
talk about this stuff
That's
all day.
why we made a damn podcast, because we couldn't stop talking about it all the time.
Well, I'm glad y'all had a good birthday party,
Yeah.
and
How was your weekend?
it was pretty good. I went, like I said, I went to brunch yesterday with my best friend and my mom. And then, we had a nice time. We went into town, had If you're ever in New Orleans, I'll shout out the place we had brunch. Really good food. It's called Red Dog Diner. It's on Magazine Street, uptown. So if you're ever in New Orleans, go there for breakfast. They have really good like poached eggs. Really good poached eggs. So if you like poached eggs, if you're a poached eggs kind of person, you know. So, but yeah, that I have no schoolwork to do, so I'm living
Love that
I'm
for you.
living my best teacher life weekend this weekend because the next couple weekends after this are going to be pretty heavy with schoolwork. So, but yeah, that's my weekend, and I'm here with you guys today.
Should we drop the bomb on them now that we won't have an episode next week?
Yeah, I guess we can. Go ahead.
Sorry,
We're
guys.
we're taking a siesta.
Yeah, we're just taking a mini one. We don't mean to just do it in the beginning of the year or anything, but kind of get it out of the way.
Yeah. So we're gonna have a vacation next weekend, a break from the potty pod. So next week we will not have an actual full episode. We do plan on doing a mini episode for our OG Wallers over at Patreon. So there will be episode, I think we're on 14 at this point. So there will be an episode 14 for you guys next week for the potty pod. Mini pod. Sorry. All right. Well, are we ready to start, Paige?
Can I tell you
I
something
can't
so
believe
funny?
it. Go ahead.
Every time when you say the potty pod, our little system that we use to help us generate clips sometimes, guys, it'll generate clips on its own. And you can edit those or you can make your own ones, but it also names these clips. And it's so funny because whenever, I don't know why, but whenever Gigi says potty pod, it like is like, oh, I got to make this into a clip. And I don't know why, but it always does. And it'll name the clip potty pod and POTTY pod.
Of course it would. Let me tell you, can I just say this too? I have been haunted this past week by some of our listeners.
Yes.
Because I refuse to fart in front of Michael or even do like poop or I can't even talk about it.
Joe thought you were ridiculous.
I had somebody send me a picture of a toilet and next to another toilet, and the meme was, "Let's talk shit while we shit." And I'm like, "This is going to be you and Michael." I'm like, "Absolutely not."
It will. It will. I when we get off of here, I have to tell you. Never mind.
Do you need me to write it down so I can
Yes.
remind you later?
Yes.
Okay, remind Paige.
I just don't want anyone to think that I'm gross.
You're not gross, Paige. Listen. The comments we got on that of what people do with their loved ones in regards to farting, I was dying. I was like, oh my God, people do this? Oh my God.
I know. I was literally the one girl, I forget what she said on TikTok. It was so funny. Jackie, she was like,
I put the phone up to my ass.
Yes, that's what she said.
Basically.
That's
yeah.
what she said.
Just let it rip. And I'm like,
she's like, I'll literally move my phone to my ass when I have to fart. I'm like, that's so like even Joey and I aren't at that level yet. Like, I love that though. I'm like, that's hilarious. Yeah. Like,
I think it's great. I can't bring myself to do it, but to each their own. Like, whatever works for y'all. Like, I know couples that just run up to each other and just sit on each other and then fart. Like, like just for fun, like jokes, know. And I'm happy that brings you joy. Go for it. I'm happy for you, but I don't have a digestive system. Sorry, but I got so much stuff in my DMs from people like ragging on me because I don't fart
so funny
on the phone or at visit.
It's funny though because I think we got like mixed reviews from people. Like we got like some people that were like, "Duh, I fart," and then other ones that are like, "I don't like to talk about it." Really, like
Yeah. But it's just funny. I guess the people that feel comfortable, like, that I know pretty well are the ones that listen to the pod that are the ones sliding into my DMs with poop and fart stuff. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. But I have no problem farting in front of my friends. Like, first of all, I'm not a big, like.
I don't like.
Yeah.
I don't like farting.
I don't like farting too much either. I don't like it. I mean, I'm not going to lie. I do it.
Yeah, everyone does.
But I'm not like sitting here like cranking.
Like,
You know
yeah,
what I
like
mean? Like
I
crank
have
farting.
friends. I have and like okay, I grew up with a brother who's 5 years older than me. So, like keep that I grew up around like as soon as he had to fart, he would just like lift his ass up and be like and
Hmm.
it didn't matter where we were. Like so
Oh
like
yeah.
that's what I'm used to.
Oh, we used to go. The library is right around the corner from my house. I can walk to the library. My brothers. I have three older brothers, by the way, and they're way older than me. So they used to go to the library and just let it rip and then like blame it on me all the time. And so like I'm like mortified when it comes to farting now. Like I've been scarred because I always like they would like let it rip. And not only was it like loud, it smelled so
Oh
bad. And
god.
then they'd run off and then I'd be left with the person coming down the aisle of the books looking at me like I just did it myself. So I'm like mortified.
Like even this much talk about farting is like
Yeah.
more than I've done in like a long time. You know? Like honestly. And I'm like I'm good on it.
Yeah. Okay, I'm sorry.
No, no,
I
it's
wanted to
okay.
bring that up because it was so funny the
It
stuff
was.
I got from people.
It was. It
So,
was good.
okay. All right, we'll stop. We'll stop talking about digestive stuff because it is making me very antsy
Yeah.
too. But
Woo.
all right. Welcome to episode 42. Farty-two.
Farty too. Oh my god, bye.
All right, I can't believe. First of all, I'm just gonna say this. I can't believe we're at 40 fucking two.
Mm-hmm.
I say that every time, but to me, it's still. I feel like we're still on episode one, like and it's just crazy that we've come this far. We're almost like getting to 50 page. I know
I
we said
know.
we're getting to 40. Now we're almost getting to 50. Like it boggles my mind sometimes.
It's crazy.
Um, and I will say this: we're coming up a month away. Is our 1 year? The pod is turning 1 year old.
That is so exciting. We have to figure
I
out the
know.
date.
Yeah, I have it. I have
Okay.
it. But we'll have to do a big celebration for our 1 year of our Potty Pod. I said it again. There you go. Now we're gonna have another AI
Yeah,
clip.
anyway, it'll
Okay.
clip that too.
All right. Well, welcome, Wallers, OG Wallers, Morgan Wallers, Waller Squad, whatever you want to call yourself. And thank you for getting us here to another episode. It is your friendly host, I'm gonna say Paige. Is my
Yeah.
friendly host Paige?
Period.
Can't talk today. It's your friendly host Gigi here, and I'm here with the lovely and beautiful.
Your friendly host, Paige. Hi, friends.
All right, and we're here today to bring you a very interesting topic today, along with a bunch. We got a bunch of your questions, comments, speaky pipes. So we have a lot. So thank you for coming through and you know giving us your questions and your topics that you want us to talk about today. So before we start, we're going to start with our sponsor. It's that time of the year, guys. It's lovey love dove dove time. That means it's time for your Valentine Day pictures. So go ahead and slide on to into Paige's DMs to get your Valentine's Day edits. Or if you really want, I'll tell you, Paige did a fantastic Mardi Gras edit of a picture for me. So if you're also looking for something a little different, St. Patty's Day coming up, Mardi Gras coming up, Valentine's, whatever the holiday, even getting into Easter, if you want to have a family portrait done for Easter, go ahead and slide into Paige's DMs for Beyond Bars Imaging. And she can make your prison pictures not look so prisony and actually look normal. So, speaking of, can I just give a little something before we start that though? So, Paige did a picture from our visit. She posted on Beyond Bars Imaging and made it look like Mike and I were in a bedroom or something, like with some candles and some lights and just, lovey-dovey looking. And I had a little bravery in me to test it out, and I put it up on my personal Instagram story, not my pod Instagram story, but my personal one. And yeah, it made some waves.
Some
So
messages.
I got some comments and some messages, yes, from
Mhm.
people. So, but people thought, I will say that I was like, Paige is I told Paige this last week. I said, you are such a genius because it looks like a real picture.
I
Like
love
it
that.
really does. So,
That's why I
um,
started making these because I
yeah.
wanted to post on my actual Facebook before a lot of people knew about Joe, and I was still kind of in the closet. That I wanted to post pictures of him and I because I was like, it was like my way of being able to express myself without fully divulging my life to everyone. And then it just turned into a thing where everyone was like, I want one. And now I'm just happy that I can make those for you guys.
Yeah. So if you need an upgrade on your picture, go ahead and hit up Paige because she's taking Valentine's and anything else, any request that you have. It doesn't have to be a holiday. It could just be a regular picture you want to look a certain way. So hit a girl up, slide into those DMs for Beyond Bars Imaging. And you can see her work on TikTok. Well, I don't know if we'll have TikTok at this
Yeah,
point,
anyway.
but Insta and Facebook. So go ahead and check those pages out. All right. Are we sad about TikTok? Do you want to tell everybody what we're going to do? Or like, are we just going to move over to, like, if you are not following our Instagram
Yeah.
with the upcoming TikTok short shutdown, please make sure you're following our Instagram, A Prison Wife Podcast.
Or on
And we,
Facebook. We
and we
created
just launched. Yeah. Go ahead. You want to tell them about it,
Yeah, we
Paige?
just created a Facebook page last week. It is a Prison Wife podcast, so you should be able to find us on there. If you aren't on Instagram, all you have to do is search that and click follow or like. And we're going to do our best to connect the two so that we can, whenever we share anything on Instagram, we'll also share it on Facebook too. And that'll be one way to kind of resolve losing TikTok, which kind of sucks. I'm kind of bummed about
Yeah.
it. I don't fully really understand it, but I also don't fully understand a lot of the things that our government decides. So I don't really know if it's something I can understand.
Yeah. And so yeah, we'll have other places, and hopefully you guys can find us there. I don't know. They
YouTube
meant they talked about what would happen on the 19th, and basically the App Store or Google Play or whatever you use
will stop
will no longer
updating.
be carrying the app, and so
Hmm.
basically you'll open it and it'll just say cannot connect or something like that.
Whenever they start
So
to, it'll start to have bugs and stuff that usually can be fixed with like updates to the app and stuff. You won't be able to
mhm,
update it, so it'll
yeah,
start to not work.
yeah. So find us on the other socials, guys, and we'll be posting there for sure. All right, we ready to dive in, Paige?
Yep.
All right, here we go.
You do
All right.
legislation.
Ooh, yeah, you did it.
No, you have to do it.
Oh, what up with that
There you go.
legislation, Paige? What you got?
Well, I have a few things. I have a story that I saw was shared on Facebook that I definitely wanted to bring light to because it's CDCR related and specifically related to CMC, which is a prison in California that my husband went to.
Okay.
A dentist who formerly worked at the California Men's Colony Prison sued the state earlier this month, alleging that she was retaliated against after raising concerns that other dental professionals neglected patients and performed irreversible procedures without consent. Without even reading more, I was like, okay, queen. Like,
I'm giving her a crown right here.
literally, like, basically, this woman, Lindsay Hathaway, filed a complaint saying that the prison unfairly terminated her in 2023. She was concerned about a segment of the population that does not have recourse, which is the people that are incarcerated.
Mm-hmm.
Um, she basically just said that they are at the mercy and the whims of the dentist and the dental staff, and the things that she witnessed there were gross. It's a lot of the stuff that we talk about as prison wives that our husbands and boyfriends and significant others go through within these dental practices within the institutions. It is such poor care. Like Joseph is horrified every time he goes, and he keeps talking about how he's so scared that they're gonna just pull his teeth out because they don't really do anything to fix them, or like, you know what I mean, they'll like put a cap, like fill in a cavity maybe, or just drill it, or sometimes they really will just be like, let's just pull it. and
Yeah.
no medicine, no anything, like no
It's
care in the
barbaric.
world. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
It's
gross. And like, I mean, you can't just do that. Like
mm-mm.
the pain, like I can't imagine witnessing that over and over again.
Yeah. And the fact that, their only answer for a lot of it, because it's the same in Louisiana, is let's just pull the tooth, let's just pull the
Yep,
teeth, let's
always.
pull all your teeth and just give you dentures.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's their go-to. And the fact that they're not using any type of Novocaine or, medication to numb. I mean,
Yep.
that's like dentists from the horror movies. Like that is my worst nightmare.
I read this article to Joe as soon as I saw it because he went there and he had a lot of issues there with his teeth.
Hmm.
The one thing that this woman said was that she documented dental malpractice, such as conducting tooth extractions without obtaining patients' consent and improperly prescribing medication. She claimed dentists neglected patients' acute dental issues and left them suffering for weeks at a time. She said that there were situations where procedures should have been completed in one sitting, but because the person was in as much pain as they were suffering. And the dentist staff said that they didn't want to do it in one setting because that wasn't convenient to their schedule. So they would break it up into multiple
Yeah.
painful experiences for these incarcerated people because that's what worked for them.
And as somebody that hates the dentist, this is like
I
hearing
know.
this is the worst thing possible.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So I guess she
Shout
reported it.
out to her.
Yeah.
Shout out to her for her bravery in coming forward because first of all, in a system where everybody is supposed to have each other's backs and we don't rat on each other, a code of silence, if you want to call it. Kudos to her, brave for coming forward and saying this isn't right.
They clap back at her. Of course, CDCR says that there's many other reasons that they let her go, like she was like falsifying timesheets and other things. But this is kind of what CDCR does, from what I understand, when they had issues with like a psychologist that kind of came out blowing the whistle on some of the practices. They like counteracted and like it said that she was doing like X, Y, and Z. So I mean that's kind of expected, but that shout out to that what's her name, Lindsay Hathaway, and
Hmm.
I hope that you get your justice, girl, because that thank you for using your
Yeah.
voice too, because we can say it over and over again, but people will just kind of take it in one ear and out the other and think we're just bitching.
Yeah. But coming from someone that actually worked there and saw it herself,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it adds, you know, truth to what we're talking about, but obviously hopefully people believe it because we're not just saying this stuff out of our ass. You know what I mean?
Yep. um when I brought that one part up to Joseph about how they broke it up into multiple um appointments because that's what their availability was, he said, oh yeah, and he's familiar with that. So like not even just with him but with multiple people, so that's
Yeah.
a common practice too.
And that's a shame.
The other story I just wanted to follow up on. Do
Oh.
you remember the woman over in the UK who recorded herself getting intimate with a few security guard, or I'm sorry, secure with a few incarcerated men
Hmm.
over there in the UK?
And then
She
try to make a OF
Yeah, she
for
tried.
it.
She like that's a whole thing. The thing I don't understand is that she tried to like monetize off of it and like make it a big thing, even like right after it happened. Like she wasn't hiding it. So like you
Yeah.
would think if that happened here, like the consequences and like the judge would try to make an example of that.
Yeah.
But the reason I bring this up is that the judge sentenced her, and she was sentenced to only 15 months in prison, and she was told that she could serve probably only half of the time in custody. And that she's also entitled to a 95-day reduction after it was revealed that she had been wearing an electronic tag for 190 days. So, like, again,
Yeah.
okay. I guess as long as you commit these crimes not in America, y'all.
Well, I think also sentencing doesn't seem to be as harsh on women as it is on men, I feel
Always, a
like.
lot of times.
But also, I mean, we're in Europe, so Europe doesn't believe in these, long sentences. They don't, like I said, some of this countries, the longest sentence they have is 25 years. So,
Crazy.
well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, yes, does she deserve some time? Sure. I hate arguing for more time though,
Yeah,
because then I feel like
that's kind of why
I'm
I
a
left it
hypocrite,
at that. I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna like I don't really know, as someone who doesn't really believe that prison does what people think its intended job is. You know what I mean? I don't
Yeah.
know. I don't know what the answer is.
Yeah.
But if
Well,
that
I
was
think
if the roles were switched and she was a male
I think she would have gotten
CO,
or that male would have gotten a lot more
yeah,
time for sure. I think, being pretty, being young, judge had a little
pretty privilege.
sympathy.
Yeah.
Yeah. And maybe, I don't know, I feel like also because women can be persuaded or manipulated, maybe the judge saw it as, well, you're this beautiful woman. Of course, they're going to try to have their way with you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I think for me, she should have gotten more time, not for the act, more for the
Abuse of power.
monetizing. Yeah, trying to make money off of her sexcapades. You know what
There
I
was
mean?
no remorse afterwards. Like it wasn't like, oh,
Correct.
I shouldn't have done that. It was like, don't follow this OF page. That one's not me. This one is me.
Yeah.
That's literally what she like at one point. She was like, that's fake. This is my real OF page. Like, okay.
Follow this one. Spend money on this subscription, please. All right. Do you have anything else, Paige, for whatever that?
Other than the fires, I know we're gonna talk about. No.
Yeah. I have one from one of our admin from our support group.
Yes.
She was talking about some legislation in Minnesota. Minnesota is implementing something called the MRRA, which is the Minnesota Rehabilitation and Reinvestment Act. This will shift the focus from how much time people spend in prison to how people spend that time. It creates incentives for people in the custody of the Department of Corrections to participate in and make progress toward individualized goals that they aid in setting when they start their time in prison. So this is more of a, like we always rant and talk about, just the sentencing is not one size fits all. Well, this is what the MRRA is doing. It's individualizing people's progress through prison and being able to reintegrate into society, see how well they're being rehabilitated. So this is what it says. Basically, people will have to serve 2/3 of their sentences, which means they will also be required to participate in courses, treatments, classes in order to get to that 2/3. There are some restrictions, but it says they haven't done much yet as far because the bill was passed in 2023. But they don't know what the actual restrictions are yet. It will also be impacting parole afterwards. So there's another set of rules to follow to get your parole time decreased. So to limit your time on paper, basically. The DOC, this person, Hannah, who is one of our admins from overseas, said that the DOC is dragging their feet with it. But once they start getting all the little, I guess, the logistics of it mapped out, it will be a really great incentivizing program for people trying to get out, trying to stay out, trying to get a shorter parole time. So good job, Minnesota, for pushing this Rehabilitation and Reinvestment Act. This is what, in a sense, it's not perfect. No system is perfect, but it is more of what you see in other countries. And it is more of what prison should be doing versus just punitive. It should also be rehabilitative, and it should also cater to the individual because not everybody is the same. Not everybody will be rehabilitated at the same time or in the same way. So this is a great way to push for bringing people back into citizens back into society and having them be successful in that society. So thank you, Hannah, for sharing that with us because, yeah, that's really, really, really importante for sure. All right. Anything else, Paige, before we move to mean tweets? All right. Do you have a mean tweet? Did we have any mean stuff this week?
You know, I mean, I usually have something. I
do have a sweet tweet.
Maybe to start with that. I don't know if I do.
Okay. I have a sweet tweet, so we'll go ahead and start our Tweety Bird
I
session.
I have something I can bring up.
Okay. All right. Here we go. All right. You want to go first or you want me to go first?
You go first.
All right. So we had a really nice comment on our YouTube channel. I'm just trying to find it. Here we go. All right. Paige and I both screenshot it and we sent it to I was about to send it to her, but she sent it to me first. I didn't get the person's name because when I screenshot it cut off, but this is what this person said. I am not married, nor do I have family in the prison system. I simply watch because I believe in you both and admire your passion and compassion. This week, I saw a post on the Book of Faces where a woman was talking about our local jail. They were talking about how the women were not given pads and were subjected to hours of just bleeding everywhere. To make it worse, there were so many comments on the post suggesting they deserve it because they are in jail. How do people even sleep at night? Yes, people do terrible things all the time, and guess what? They don't go to prison. Sometimes they do. It should never allow for this treatment, and even more, it shouldn't allow people to just think that this treatment is okay at all. I offered to buy pads and donate them. Not allowed. It's infuriating because I can see how trapped of a feeling it must be to be married to someone and not be able to help. I may not stand along with you ladies, but I do stand beside you in support. Thanks for all you do. And this comment was on our last week's pod. So thank you to that beautiful human being for commenting and saying that. And she's absolutely right. The fact that women can't get basic female sanitary napkins. Let's even just call it like old school.
And the fact that you can't donate them to have them you know what I mean? I thought the one rule was that they had to be in a box. Like, you know what I mean? Like, why can't they be donated? So you rather them just bleed everywhere? Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah. And for people to think they deserve it.
No one deserves that. Crazy. I love hearing about the people like that don't have the connections, that feel inspired to do something, and listen to us in general. They have no connection or reason to, other than their pure heart, and I just love that. I literally had a girl that created a whole advocacy account, and I don't think she has any relation to this world, but she's I've always felt like this, and she's I feel like your guys' pod gave me that, and I'm that is seriously I'm gonna sob, because that's so fucking awesome. You know what I mean? Because I've had I'm here today because I had someone inspire me too. So you know what I mean? To be able to do that for someone else is so fucking cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, that touches my heart and my soul. That we're reaching people that we thought were unreachable. That there are people out there. They're proving me wrong, because I always think the worst case scenario, just because you see, that's what you see a lot of, but it's so beautiful and touching to see these people care and see the humanity in people. We have to do better as a society. We treat the undesirables as if they're subhuman, and whatever category you want to put that in, incarcerated, people with low socioeconomic status, I think we need to do better. If we're this wonderful country that's great and, loving and caring and happiness for everybody, then why are we
Prove it.
wishing death upon people? Why are we wishing that people don't get pads because they don't deserve it?
Who knew
Sorry.
that you were the holder and like decider of who gets pads? Like,
They,
what are you fucking talking about?
I was going to say, some of these people commenting, I thank God they don't run something, because
And
I would not want that hateful
some of it is
person.
realizing where to like exude your energy, because like posts like that on Facebook too, of all places, are gonna be disgusting zones of people that are like that, and
Just
you're just
a
gonna
cesspool.
waste your time like
Yeah.
arguing with those people who get off on making you upset, because like that's what their misery is. So it's like just avoid it.
Yeah, someone told me, when people make negative comments like that, it's not about you or about this. It's not even really about the situation. Like, yes, they're saying terrible things about these women who are suffering, but deep down, there's something wrong in their insecurity, or something's going on with them, that they have to do that and say those horrific things to make themselves feel superior.
So my post
So,
that I have to talk about is not specifically mine, but it's one that I had to jump in and join on, because that's just who I am.
mhm.
Literally, Addie, she posts her videos all the time. One of the videos she posted was talking about how, like, she posts these reels of like using like meme clips.
Mhm.
She said, more incarcerated individuals are abused by the system, and it continues to grow, and private prison stock soars. And it was just like me in 2024 and me in 2025, and the 2025 version was like stepping up and like being louder. And she was like, this is me towards reform this year versus last year. And
Mhm.
someone commented on it that I went and looked at their profile. It's a cop.
Oh,
He comments.
fun.
He goes, "Cringe post. Just don't commit crime." So after I go to his page and creep him and see that he is a cadet, and like his 3 pictures are to do with like getting sprayed in the face with pepper spray and then like something else, I go, "Well, that's a very close way of thinking, cadet. You should know that the phrase 'just don't commit crime' oversimplifies complex social, economic, and systemic issues."
Good job, Paige.
And he didn't respond to me. But then I left another thing on. I go, also, does he just hang around your page and wait for you to post posts, or is he just trolling the reform tag? Either way, it's giving misery, because literally the only tags she even fucking had on this post were parole reform, justice reform, advocate.
So he's obviously trolling and looking for posts to try to swing his
Yeah.
micro dick around.
I'm just
Sorry, I'm going to say it like that.
I'm just curious, is this the kind of cadets that Georgia wants?
It's giving micro penis.
It's giving misery.
Mm-hmm. AKA micro penis. Sorry. Ah.
It's small man syndrome.
Mm-hmm. All right, Napoleon. But good job, Paige. You handled that. See, that's what I'm talking about. Mwah. Mwah. Perfection.
They don't
She
want to
handled it.
respond. I'm like, well,
Yeah.
you said just don't commit crime, but and then what?
It just shows you limited mind of thinking versus a very much more broader and more developed way of thinking.
Yeah, like
Oh, just don't do crime. Oh, just don't do crime. Okay.
yeah,
But
like
what you're okay, great solution, sir.
literally, yeah.
Whereas you are really looking at the big picture of everything. So who's the smarter one? Paige.
You
Page
got
1, micro penis 0.
you got bullied in high school, and now you're a cop. Okay, let's just stop.
And this is why people like this are the reasons why we have Robert Brooks cases, why we have police brutality.
This is
You know,
the thought process that these people have that are cops. Just don't commit crime.
we're better than everybody. You know,
Fuck you. This is the same motherfucker that is living in a state where they want to create Cop City and build an entire fake city. Do you know about Cop City?
No, I don't.
Oh, they want to build in Georgia an entire fake city for cops to play fake cop and learn how to do their fucking job. Do you know how much money it would cost? You need everyone look it up. If you don't know about Cop City, look up fucking Cop City.
Okay, I'm writing that down.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they basically want to create a whole big city to play playground and play their job.
Well, who's gonna be like? Is it actors?
I
Is
have
it
it's I think it's all them. I have no
okay?
fucking clue. They just want to do anything but do their job or like take a class on how to deal with sensitive cases or like other things that you could actually do to do your job better. No,
Yeah,
I want a fake playground to fake,
fake
like
arrest
yeah,
people.
yeah, get the fuck out of here.
Gotta love the internets. Gotta love the internets. All right. Well, good job, Paige, battling the inferior or the superior thinking mind that is clearly inferior in thought. So, all right. Are we ready to talk about our main topic?
Yeah, the
All right.
topic that's just been fucking weighing on my mind all week and has been like
Yes.
looming over me, and I just I'm an empath already, but having so much love for the state of California and like seeing all of these people losing everything, their houses that have been in their life for generations, the old people who are losing
Yeah.
everything, it is so sad. I I don't even know how my brain can't even, work its way around it.
Yeah, and it's spreading so fast, and it's starting to impact so many communities and animals, people's homes. I mean, everybody, and it's just heartbreaking to see. And my heart goes out to those, especially those people who have lost things, who are maybe being evacuated, not knowing if they're going to lose their homes, and those people going out to fight these fires in LA or
Hmm.
in the LA area.
All the firefighters
Yeah,
apparently some from Canada, some are coming from
Mexico.
Mexico, and
Yeah,
of course, we got our firefighters that are there in California, and then of course we have to mention the incarcerated firefighters, which is I from the last article I saw is totaling over 1,000 now that have been
yeah,
deployed to
yeah,
go fight these fires. And this is the same people. I just want to remind the state of California that you all were like, no, we want to make all of the prisoners have jobs. Like we want to require
yeah.
forced labor. Not that it is a volunteer basis. I will say that all of
Okay.
the being in a fire camp and all of that. But that's just something I also want them to think about. Like as this is all going on, like these people don't have to be doing these things. Like
No,
they
they're choosing to go out there and be brave and help the community because that's what they're choosing. It's their choice to do that. They want to do that.
mm-hmm.
And I didn't realize that this incarcerated firefighter program began in 1915, 1915. And then obviously it kind of really took a bigger it got a lot bigger and got a little bit more like more organized around World War II. I think you said
Yep.
1946.
Mm-hmm.
So this system's been there for a long time, and they're used. I know in the last big California wildfires, they were also they're used all the time. So it's a program. They're voluntarily. The big thing is you have these emergency firefighters getting paid lots of money on the hour. The 13th Amendment, though, keeps them from earning. I just want to this is from NPR. This is an article. They are paid between the amounts of $5.80 and $10.24 per day,
Yep.
with additional pay provided during emergencies and other circumstances. So these people are going out there volunteering for basically
A
what we would
fraction.
think of
A
minimum
fraction of
wage.
the
Yeah.
salaries received because the one article I have here is talking about how in California typically firefighters earn upwards of 100,000 annually. So that is a fraction of your $10 a day at most.
Well, it's not even. It's not even. It's like basically making minimum wage for 1 hour.
Mm-hmm.
If you think about, it. I said minimum wage, but it's
Yeah,
1 hour of minimum wage for a day.
you're
For
getting
one, it's a
you're
day.
getting
Yeah,
pennies, and you're
yeah.
literally just cheap labor is what you're basically looked at. And I saw another thing that talked about how if you are an incarcerated firefighter and you die fighting these fires, that you don't get any kind of benefits or anything.
So your family doesn't get anything or
No,
anything.
you're not going to get an award. You're not going to get any kind of like recognition or anything. They're just going to give you a death certificate signed, which is insane.
Yeah, not even a thank you for your service.
No, not if you die in the fire.
Yeah. And it did say, I will say this, a 2018 Time investigation found that incarcerated firefighters are at a higher risk for serious injuries. They are more than 4 times as likely to get cuts, bruises, broken bones compared to professional firefighters working the same fires.
Yep.
This is what the report found. They were also more than 8 times as likely to face injuries after inhaling smoke, ash, and other debris compared to the other firefighters, the report said. So,
I've had a lot of people ask about who can be firefighters. You can't have like a quote unquote serious or violent offense to be an incarcerated firefighter.
I read that you have to have at least less than 8 years or less on
Yep.
your sentence.
8 years or less. And that just comes, they look at that as the risk of you like running away or something. Like, they would think that like if you're LWAPing out there, you're more likely to run away, which, I mean, whatever, if that's the way that you're going to phrase and think. It says that the incarcerated firefighters are released from prison even after being trained by the state, because it is a state trained program. And
Okay.
many try to get hired as citizen firefighters but are denied. And it's a
Yeah.
very common thing that they are denied because there's a stigma to it. When people think of firefighters, they think of like, a clean cut dude who is, a hero and not someone who served time in prison.
Correct. So yeah, a lot of these guys coming out, they get all these wonderful skills working and learning all these. They have to take a lot of classes to do this. They have to be trained hours upon hours upon hours. And yet when they get out, they're deemed a felon and they can't get a job, which is ridiculous to me. And I don't know why the governor has not made this an easier path to a job for them, because they're on the front lines. They're more. Some of them are out there more deep in the trenches than some of the legit firefighters. So why can't they be rewarded for their work? I mean, they're working. They're putting their own lives on the line for this. They deserve an opportunity to get a good job when they get out. They shouldn't be stigmatized, you know?
They should be given a lot more opportunities than they have. And I saw this morning that ARC, which is the Anti-Recidivism Coalition, is setting up some kind of scholarship
Okay.
for all of these men, because they made a slideshow of praying for these kids, and I'm going to say kids because they look like babies.
Yeah.
They look like
They're young. They're probably
these
you have to have you have to be physically fit. You have to meet certain health requirements.
it
Like it's very intense.
yeah, it's like you're gonna like I remember one of my friend's husbands who was training at fire camp, and when she would tell me about the stuff that they would do, like the amount of running and physically, like the way you have to be fit is crazy. And like the amount of like, rehabilitation that gives you in itself is a lot. And I feel like that's looked over. But like I said, the Anti-Recidivism Coalition created a Firefighter fund that you can actually donate to. And it is a scholarship fund that they are setting up for incarcerated firefighters in California. So that's one way that I know people were asking, how can I help? How can I get involved for specifically these, of course, all of the emergency
Correct. Yeah.
coworkers,
Everybody working hard.
but specifically like these men that at the end of the day, then at the end of the day they are going back to camp, or they're going
Yeah.
back to like they aren't free. They don't get to go home to their families or anything. They are still property of the state. They still belong to California. Another thing I just wanted to bring up is that on our Facebook page, I'm sorry, not our Facebook page, our Instagram page, I created a graphic that talks about, recognizing incarcerated people's firefighter service and reforming their future. So I just had like 6 little tidbits of ways that you can fight for reforms that would benefit them. So we already talked about some of them, like fair compensation, improved training, legal and ethical protections, post release employment opportunities, expanded training, and rehabilitation credit for completing these trainings. And then, of course, abolishing forced labor.
Yeah. They did bring up in this NPR article the fact that Prop 6 did not go through is the reason that they're able to keep these firefighter camp programs going, because they don't have to, they don't have to pay them a lot, and they can use,
Yeah.
it's
It's easy.
basically labor, free labor,
It's easy labor. And what's something that's really fucking interesting that I can't stop thinking about is that I think that this was in the middle of the summer last year. It was when they had their budget. CDCR had their budget meeting. All I know is that I was traveling to California. So I had internet on my phone and I was listening to it as I was flying. And the one thing that CDCR was trying to do with their budget cuts was cut the firefighters. And I think I even talked about this on the pod when it was happening, because they were
Yeah.
literally trying to cut like a decent amount of the firefighters, because that would help save
A
XYZ
lot of
money for
money.
like
Yeah.
other things. And literally all of the people on the board were like, okay, California is notorious for all of these wildfires and all of this stuff. What happens when those happen and we don't have incarcerated help? And then they also pointed out like this is a positive system for them. Like they learn things, and like you boast on rehabilitation, and that's one of the first things that you want to cut. And it's interesting because I just go back to that in my head and I'm like, what if they would have cut that?
Yeah. Yeah. It would have cut a lot of programming and learning for a lot of people, opportunities.
Right now there wouldn't
Yeah.
be guys out there fighting.
1,000 guys almost.
Yeah,
1,000
they
people.
wanted to get rid of like 3 camps.
Jeez. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
And we know, listen, California is a state where every couple of years they have wildfires. So it's a program that needs to happen. I'm not saying it shouldn't be there. It is a voluntary program. So people choose to do it. But I think, there's also can be improvements to it for sure.
Definitely.
Especially when they get out, or giving them a chance for early release. I remember one time, the last time that California had a wildfire, Governor Newsom was signing a bunch of paperwork for these guys. I don't know what it was. If it was a reduction.
It just happened because
Okay.
when Joe was at High Desert, there was one that was really close to him, and I remember freaking out.
And I want to say he reduced their sentences or signed something giving them, freedom or close to it or whatever it was. So, and he was out there like at the wildfires, like signing people's paperwork basically. So I think the big thing is also the afterwards, giving them the same care that normal other firefighters would get.
Yep.
And then also when they get out, giving them an opportunity or a chance to be a firefighter and make the money. And giving them a chance to be a productive citizen with the knowledge and all the things that they've learned while incarcerated. I think rather than labeling them as a felon and saying, you can't do this job, where they struggle to find a job. And then, that creates the same problem, So I will say I wanted to just read this quote because this is the end of the NPR article. And a lady from the ACLU made a comment. She said, the ongoing Southern California wildfires really really illustrates why that effort was so important, as hundreds of incarcerated people take to the front lines of these wildfires to defend the personhood and property of people around the Los Angeles area and California. I hope that Californians can start to realize their value. So, people in the state need to recognize them for what they do, And if we want a better society, this is the path to rehabilitation. And we have to also remember that rehabilitation doesn't just stop when they stop doing their job or when they get out of prison. Rehabilitation continues afterwards, and giving them chances and opportunities after is also very, very important
The
too.
stigma with prison doesn't just end when you leave prison. It follows you like a tag, and it follows you when you try to apply for jobs. It follows you when you try to move places. It follows you more than you think. And it's like, even though you might have done everything you had to do and served all of your time, like it's just something that you carry with you forever, and it just kind of would be nice to have something that offsets that.
Yeah, absolutely. So our hearts go out to the guys fighting and the women, the guys and the women
affected.
fighting,
Everyone
and
affected.
everyone impacted. And obviously also our hearts especially go out to the families of those who have loved ones who are doing this, who are giving up of themselves to help communities and people. Because I know it's nerve-wracking for you knowing that they're out there 24 hours a day in a camp fighting these fires and being exposed to extremely dangerous conditions. So, yeah. So, my thoughts and prayers go out to everybody fighting this, to everybody affected by this, to the families that have to also, they may not be hearing from their loved ones right now because they're working. So, yeah, I feel that. I feel like, recognizing the people behind these people going out to fight these fires and not hearing from them, not knowing what's happening, and being in the unknown right now, with all this chaos happening around them. So, all right, are we ready to get into our? Are we ready for Mr. Freddie to call?
Mm-hmm.
All right, here he comes.
Hello, this is a prepaid collect call from
Freddie,
an inmate at Florida Correctional Institution.
Oh, it's Florida Fred. That means, guys, and let me say this. Y'all came through this week. Boy, did y'all come through. The amount of comments, questions, speaky pipes we got this week.
I'm glad you know, because I have no idea.
Holy shit. Okay, I'm just befuddled by all the amazingness. And it's like, not only do we get like a bunch of questions, they're actually like really good questions. So, and comments.
Can't wait to hear.
So I'm excited. All right. Let me go ahead and pull up our first one. I'm going to read is for actually somebody wrote us in our email. And I'm just going to read her email because I know that this might help someone else. And I want to just bring it up. So it says, "Hello, Prison Wife Pod. Very excited you are doing this podcast and getting some authentic lived experience out there. Getting some authentic lived experience out there as an alternative to the TV shows that make fun of prison wives. I was shunned by my entire family when I married a prisoner, and I've always hated that there is no authentic media coverage for our journeys out there. I'm wondering if you might consider doing a discussion on one of your episodes of this book. And she said this book really helped her. It's on Amazon. I'm going to read the title and the author. So You Want to Date or Marry a Prisoner? A survival guide for prison dating and marriage by Serena Wilson. She said, I just read it. It was so helpful. Short read, but covers so many things, from finances to the realities of prison wife morale in an honest and well-informed way that you just don't typically hear about. Keep up the good work. Love what you are doing. Thank you so much. This was from Loretta Peterson. And she did this very professionally. But I wanted to put that book out there. I will say this. I haven't read it. But I thought about the people that are they're beginning their journey, that may need something else, because they have no one. I was there when I first started. Nobody was here for me. I had only my prison wife friends that were actually here for me in moments when I needed something like this. So I know there's a lot of books out there and I'm sure you can find things, but I know people ask us all the time, what is something you recommend us read, And like I said, I haven't read this, but just hearing her information about, her, it helping her, I wanted to kind of put that out there for maybe people starting this journey that don't know how to navigate or maybe don't have a support system, which happens a lot. So I just kind of wanted to share that with everybody. All right. And I am interested in checking it out. I'm not going to say I'm not interested in checking it out because I am. So that is on my list. So once I do read it, I will give you more information. But I just saw that and I was like, yeah, this could help somebody out there for sure. All right, you ready? Here we go. Now we're getting into our Potty Pod. There I am again. Questions. Here we go from Instagram. If you don't know, every Friday we put up questions and comments that you can send to us, or you can always, some people find it easier just to slide into our DMs. That's fine too. All right, here we go. From SBH, a bunch of numbers. How can we mean more for how can we mean more for our LWAP loved ones? I am lost in this LWAP life. I don't know what she means by mean more. Or do
Probably.
more for our LWAP loved ones?
That's what I would assume.
Okay.
I would say just advocating and specifically, in my opinion, getting involved with advocacy groups that are specific to LWAP, like Drop LWAP. There's a few other ones. That's how you can specifically get in the fight for LWAP. Like, I'm on the Drop LWAP team now, and like it's interesting because like before I would just see the stuff that like they post and like help get involved that way, but now I'm kind of like hands-on involved and like I know about all like the discussions and stuff that happen behind the scenes and kind of get to see the stuff that they do that way. And that's one way that I can kind of help and feel like I'm doing more for my husband. Paying attention to laws and things that are changing. And, anytime like LWAP cases like heard come up into, you know, the news, paying attention and following those, I think is a really good way of helping.
Yeah. I think, like you said, paying attention, getting involved in nonprofit groups in your state or federally, I don't know, where you are specifically. But I know Paige has followed Drop LWAP and now she's part of their team, which is, I'm so proud of her for just following and sharing and supporting to now being like live and in-person activists on the panel, bro. So, even, and it can be baby steps, you don't have to jump 10 toes in right away, but you can do a little bit here, a little bit there, and then work your way, and you'll never know where it'll take you.
You can even join like the teams and the calls and like show up to events and like you don't even like I know some people aren't really big like social people. Like you could literally just go and like say that you can volunteer to help like hold out like hand out flyers or like do other things like that. Like one of the things that they were planning were like having like a table set up in certain parts of California that had like cards that people could fill out at the tables that were letters to Gavin Newsom, basically saying why we should abolish LWAP and like let everyone, resentence them and what good it would do. And then all they had to do then was like sign their name and put it in a basket, and it like would be collected and then mailed to him. Like things like that, like that don't even involve you having to really do things. And if they don't exist in wherever you're at, like you can join like for me, like Drop LWAP is in California and I'm in Pennsylvania. Like so I try to get involved any way I can from here. So like how I do graphics and stuff,
Yeah. So it doesn't have to be like you have to live in, like you can get involved if you have a loved one in California, you don't live in California, you can still get involved in the California nonprofits or, criminal justice groups for sure. So. All right. Well, thank you for that question. All right. Jack James X wanted to know, how did you meet your loved ones? we answer this probably like almost every other episode.
Jack is a prison husband or a prison boyfriend.
Oh,
I know who
okay.
that. I know who
You
that
know
is.
who that is? Okay.
Yes.
I'll do the condensed version. We do go into this though in our very first episode of the pod. But I met Michael through prisonpenpal.com. I wrote to him because I saw a bunch of death row documentary and docuseries, and it moved me to not just watch but actually do something. I started to write one of the guys on life and death row who was executed, unfortunately, in 2017. But then I looked closer to home and went to Louisiana and I found Miguelito. So, and we were friends, and then it grew, and obviously we were fated to be together because here we are 9 years later. So that's our story. Paige?
Well, if you ask Bored Panda, I just saw his photo and I thought he was really hot.
So hot.
Really hot. I'm like, did I say that? I'm like, that doesn't even sound like me. No, I was. Joe really liked how they worded it on there. I was bored during quarantine, so I decided to write someone. But really, it was quarantine, and I had interest in having some kind of a pen pal. I kind of wanted one that I could talk to, like through like messaging on my phone. But then when I found Joseph, I was like, even though he didn't have that where he was, we had to handwrite letters back and forth for the first few months. It didn't like deter me, and I was like, I don't know, something about this is telling me that this is like, I know this man, like I've known this man in a previous life type shit, like, and I couldn't say no, and I had to reach out, and it was kind of like a wrap from that point. Whether I thought I had control or not, I didn't.
Yeah. It's kind of like you just, it's the same for me. I was going to say, it's the way you described it is exactly the same for me and Michael. Like, I felt like the first letter I wrote, I was terrified. But when I read his letter back to me, like 4 days later, I felt like I knew him my whole life, you know?
Yeah.
And then we were just inseparable ever since.
Yep.
So we were lovers in a past life.
Yep.
Sorry. Just wanted
We
to
were.
put that out there. I truly believe that.
That's why I said to Joseph, I go, and why'd you have to go get arrested in this life?
Yeah. What did we do? We must have fucked up in the last life
I'm
to
like, I don't
get
know
this
what I
life
put you
now.
through in a past life,
Yeah. You're putting me through it now. All right. Our next question is from our girl Addie at Chapters and Chains. What is your biggest hope for the prison wife community in the next 5 years?
I feel like I have to say what you said at the end of the last pod, but in a lot more improved sense. I hope that people start to be like more caring about other people and more accepting of everyone and stop giving a fuck about, prison politics with our husbands or even ourselves, and just like start looking at everyone through like a more human eyes. And that's when we're gonna finally get full respect from other people. You know what I mean? We don't even have that within our own community. So until that happens, I don't see that. You know what I mean? We have prison wives that hate on other prison wives for being with men who have long-term sentences or certain things. And, everyone's entitled to believe or feel how they want to feel. But, like, we're never going to get that all-encompassing acceptance that we want until we give that.
In our own community. Yeah, I was going to say, I know it's a big hope, and it's kind of just what Paige said it so eloquently, and I'm going to really fuck it up now. But basically everything that Paige said, I guess my biggest hope is that, by doing this and by putting ourselves out there and educating people, that we can help to change the stigma around being a prison wife. I do believe, like what Paige said, it starts within our own community because there is still a lot of stigma just within the prison wife community. But I hope that can branch, like that can change, and that can branch out to people looking at us as human beings and our loved ones as human beings, and having, like, oh, well, instead of saying, why are you with him? You're wasting your time, all this stuff, saying, wow, that's a beautiful thing you have
Yeah,
there,
or maybe be like,
you know?
can you like, oh, you're not just interested in his crime or what he did. What's he done since
Yeah.
he's been arrested? What kind of things has he done to turn his life? You know what I mean? Like focusing
Yeah.
on that, the
Or tell
person.
me more about like Michael the person.
Yeah.
Like, what is he like,
Hmm.
rather than what did he do? What did he do?
Hmm. And what's wrong with you? Like,
Yeah. So that's my hope. I've
more of a
seen,
sisterhood.
yeah, yeah. I'd like to get there.
We have that
So
within Love Within Walls, and that's one of the things where I wanted to give my
yeah,
shout out to literally just everyone within our group, because I think within like the past week we had 3 different posts from different ladies at different times where they were just like, I just really need someone to talk to right now, and no more explanation than that. And every single time that happened, it was so cool to see all of the awesome ladies who were just like, you can always message, like, my message is
yeah,
open, do you need someone to talk, like that. Literally, I have chills talking about it right now. I'm like, that is the shit that I love, and it is so fucking cool that everyone, at least in our little safe space, has that mentality.
yeah. And I saw it. Y'all, I go to bed at like 9 o'clock. Okay, so this must have been posted later on in the evening. And when I woke up and opened my Facebook, I saw, just I was going to comment, and then I saw all of these comments, and I'm like, damn, we have a really awesome group, because one girl was struggling, and just all these people came in and responded to her and said, we're here for you, like, my inbox is open, like, I'll DM you,
Hmm.
like, we can talk about this. And I hope that, and then in a totally different post, someone wanted to talk about stuff, and someone even offered up one of our little group chats that we have with
Hmm.
Love Within Walls, saying like, this is always open, like, come chat with us, like, we're here, you don't
If you
have to
ever
be
need
alone.
someone, yeah.
Yeah. So it was just, like you said, just so inspiring and refreshing, and just beautiful to see a bunch of women coming to embrace this new person that just joined our group,
No judgment,
and
no,
no
it's
judgment,
just like
just love. Yeah.
womanhood. I fucking love
Just
it.
love that. It's beautiful. Thank you. Thank you to our group so much.
Hmm.
We love each and every one of y'all. Y'all are beautiful people. And I always say, welcome to this beautiful community with all these beautiful, amazing women, because we have some guys. So I'm not shot. We do have some guys in there, but it's just, this is like the dream of a prison wife group, because there are a lot of out there, and there's some really great ones, and there's some really not so great ones. There's some drama filled ones. This one is just nurturing, caring, and just a beautiful group of women.
And
So,
we're not
and
letting
men.
in any of the, I'll give you some small tea. I can't even tell you how many incarcerated men try to join our group constantly,
Mm-hmm.
and people that are COs or in power positions or in work for the
Department of
Department of
Defense.
Defense,
Yeah.
like trying to get in Love Within Walls. Sir, you are not a prison wife.
Yeah.
His like job is like some Department of Defense. Can you get out of here?
Yeah.
Like, bye.
Boy, bye.
Anyway, and that's why our group is great.
Yes. All right. This is from Famie Christie. She said, pros and cons of changing your last name and taking your husband's.
Um, well, I think the first obvious one is that if you're not out of the closet, people are gonna be like, you're
Yeah.
married, you have a new last name.
Yeah.
I think it helps with some paperwork sometimes if you have the same name. I know Joseph and I do not have the same last name, so that's an example. And that's something that you can do with a domestic partnership. You can change your last
You
name.
can change.
We didn't, but that's one of the things whenever I get checked in for my family visit that they like second glance because they're like, wait,
You don't have the same last
yeah,
name.
mm-hmm,
Yeah. So, when you marry Joe,
mm-hmm.
because I know y'all are doing the paperwork or whatever,
When we eventually, yeah.
you're gonna eventually take his
Yeah.
name.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I
Ooh.
will.
Okay.
It's just I don't know. It's so this is probably so weird and so like not the popular response, but I remember being a little girl and being like, I don't even want to change my last name if I ever get married. Like I don't know. Like I just
Yeah.
never wanted to. So
Yeah.
like that is still part of the I think, especially depending on how Joe feels about it, that's probably what we'll do. But I'm
Okay.
like one of those people where that doesn't really make like a last name doesn't make a difference to me. Like even like my son doesn't have my last name because when I popped him out in my drug diluted mind because I was all drugged up from my C-section, I was like, yeah, sure. So like it's just like I'm used to it.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't have Michael's name. I probably will not have Michael's name for a while. I do want to take his name at some point, but um the big thing for me is I would have to change legally all of my
Documents. That's the thing.
documents and my certificates and
Every piece
you
of
know,
legal work.
correct. So to me,
That's a
right now, it's not worth all of the headache that it's going to create.
that to
Plus,
me is such so we would have you would have to redo everything like visiting paperwork.
well, I'll be honest. I'll be honest with our listeners. I still have my ex-husband's last name. Like that's my legal name. My government name is my ex-husband's
The one
last
that
name.
I
Like I
know,
did
that's
not
his last
change.
name.
That's his last name. That's not my maiden name. So, just to show you how hard it is to change,
Yeah, it's like
I've been divorced for it'll be 9 years this year, and or it'll be 9 years, and I haven't changed my last name because
it's just
my
easier.
titles of my house, my deeds, my titles on my car, my bank accounts, all of my legal stuff
You're
is in.
and you're a teacher, so like kids
Yeah.
would call you by that too. So that's a whole nother aspect.
Yeah, they call me by my I use my ex-husband's last
So
name.
like if
So
you
my
if you married Mike and took his last name, that would be a whole nother change for them too.
correct. I would be Miss T.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it would be very different. And to get my certification obviously comes from the state. To change that is a pain in the ass too.
Yeah.
So it's just for me it's just easier not to take his name.
I
But
understand wanting to though.
oh yeah, I
It's like
want to.
special and it's like, it's
Yeah.
another thing you share. So like I do understand um wanting
Maybe
to.
when I retire
Yeah.
and I sell my house and I move away and I go somewhere else, like
Yeah.
I might do it then, but right now, all right. Well, I just can't wait to call you by. I'm just gonna say this by Joe's last name. That would be Mrs. Joe's last name.
Period.
All right. All right. From Hello Kitties. This one's she put specifically for me. Thank you, Gigi. What do you say to people who don't know about Mike that ask you why you don't date or why are you single? I usually say I just choose. I don't want to date anybody. I've dated and I'm like, meh, I need a break. Or I'm just choosing to be. I'm just choosing to be single right now. I just don't. I always say this. I tell people, if someone comes along and they blow my mind, I'm open, but I'm not like looking. Like that's what I say. Like if I meet somebody on the fly and they're really cool and we hit it off, then I'm open. But I'm not choosing to date right now. That's what I just say. I'm choosing to be single. And hey, you know what? It's 2025. That people choose people.
Stop asking people why they want to be why they're single.
Well, and people are making choices. They're making choices not to have children. They're making choices not to date. They're making choices not to get married. I mean, it's you just tell them like this is my personal choice. So all right. So thank you, Hello Kitties, for that question. All right, Mama San came in hot with a couple of questions. So I think these are more for you, Paige. Here we go. How close are the fires from Joe? And we obviously just heard from Joe at the beginning of the pod, so we know that he is safe. She also said prayers for the Cali fire teams too. So we know that Joe is safe. He is not in the LA area, so he is fine. The second question is for you from Mama. Paige, do you schedule your family visits around your cycle? Or also, have you ever started while you were at a family visit?
So this might be TMI for some people, so if you don't want to hear about it, skip ahead. um, so unfortunately, a lot of the times, I don't know about all CDCR prisons, but I can tell you the ones that we've gone to, they don't exactly work with you when it comes to scheduling. It's kind of when they have open, if you want it as soon as you want it, they'll schedule it then. It doesn't really matter how it works. So there have been times where I've gone to family visit, and it's been a good time to try if we wanted to. There's been times where I've gone and gotten my period at family visit.
Ooh.
There's been times where I've gone with my period, and I remember like having terrible dreams about that because, like, what are the fucking odds that like the 2 days you're there that, but it's happened. And you have to bring pads and tampons that are already in a box. You can't bring anything like unopened, and
It has
it's
to be
just like
sealed.
exactly, it's just like an additional thing. But our prison doesn't let us plan around fertility. I'm sure that maybe if I wanted to be like difficult and like try to like use a calendar and plan outwards, maybe
Mhm.
that maybe I could, but um, they don't really want to do anything to help with that, and whatever. I'll take what I can get.
Yeah.
I won't bitch.
So I guess what happens if you're there and you get your cycle date, they give you stuff, you said?
That's a good question. I feel like I at least know myself enough that if I'm going to get it, I would bring stuff.
Okay.
But I don't know because there's only the guards that only come by like every certain amount of hours, and then they just check with your significant other to say that they're good, and then they leave. Like, I remember one time we needed batteries for the remote because we didn't have batteries in the remote, and he told the one CO, and they literally never brought it. And he like reminded them like 5 times. They were like, "Oh, okay, yeah," and then they left, and then they didn't come back. So like, I could see that being like that situation.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Okay. So basically plan ahead.
yeah, bring them if you think you're gonna, because the last
Yeah.
thing you want to do is be stuck there and not be able to do anything.
Yeah. And I have a quick question about that. Do you bring your own towels and stuff, or
I
they
do.
provide that?
I bring my
Okay.
own. I bring my own towels and my own sheets. I know some prisons are different, but thank God we've only gone to ones that make you bring your own sheets and your own towels because honestly, like sleeping on their sheets, no thanks.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't know how
And
clean they've.
towels and stuff.
Yeah. Okay. I was just curious because if you start and you need something and you don't bring anything and you have towels, I mean, you're gonna
You put it
bleed all
down.
over their towels. Yeah.
Um, maybe I'll save that for.
Wait, what?
We'll talk about it next week on
Oh,
Patreon.
on the
Yeah.
Patreon. Okay, I'm gonna write it down. Okay, wrote it down. Got it. All right, and one last question came from Chris. The same question came from Chris. She said, "I actually have a few questions." She said, "Oh, let me hold on. Whoops, I just lost it. Dagnabbit." She was praising the pod, but she said she has a few questions. She said, "What are some New York State reentry programs that help formerly incarcerated individuals reenter society and actually avoid going back to prison? We have a good friend that will be released soon, and unfortunately, he will be going into a shelter. I can tell he's worried about it. My fear is that he will either commit another crime or end up dead, and that's the last thing we would want to happen. He's pretty young, but we would like him to remain on the right track. Unfortunately, because he got arrested at his mother's house, he cannot go back there, and his father wants nothing to do with him, just seeking some good advice." So I saw this and I looked up New York reentry. I actually went to the state website, doccs.ny.gov. There's a reentry program called REO, and it does partner with other state agencies, county governments, and community-based organizations to develop referral sources for individuals returning home in need. So of these things are like anger management, substance abuse, referrals for housing, mentoring, employment. If you go to the DOCCS website, the ny.gov, and you look up, I just looked up reentry services. They had a whole thing of like questions, frequently asked questions and answers. And they have what they called community-based residential programs, or CBRP. And they have applications so you can apply to this program, and it helps put them into, give them housing and help them successfully reintegrate back into society. So this community-based residential program might be something that, and they work with the REO, which is the partnership, the program that helps people that are released to find a better place, so he doesn't have to go to a shelter, so he has a place to go, but you do have to apply for it. So I would maybe mention to him looking into that, or going to the website. Again, it's doccs.ny.gov, and seeing if you can apply for him. I don't know how that works. He may have to apply himself, but there are programs where he doesn't have to go into a shelter. He can go into housing given by some of this program, this reentry services program. So I would recommend doing that. And yes, you're right. You know, if they don't get the support, we said this earlier, if they don't have the support coming out, people think, oh, I'm coming out of prison, so everything's just going to be honky dory and, you know, be totally cool and I'll be able to make it. But there's so much that have to unpack: the trauma, the system, the institutionalization, the temptations. Like, they have to battle so much coming home. So the work just be like, you thought the work was hard when he was in. Woo! It's 10 times harder coming out, and you have to be patient, especially if you have a loved one that's coming out. So I would reach out, Christy. I would reach out to those programs offered by the DOCCS, especially the community-based residential program and the REO program, for sure. That way he has a successful transition and can become a productive member of society, versus going back to the old habits and being tempted to go back down the road that led him to be incarcerated. So, and you know, it sucks that he can't live with his mom, because to me, family is your biggest support system. Though studies have shown that people who have families help them re-enter society, do a lot better while they're incarcerated, and they do a lot better when they come home. So hopefully, you know, it sucks that he can't live with his mom, but hopefully, you know, these programs can help him, because they're made for people in this type of situation, I'm sure. So, Christy, I hope that helps. And reach out if you need more, because I can send you the links and all that stuff too. All right. And that's all I had for comments and questions. We do have 2 speaky pipes, so I'm going to go ahead and pull those up. Thanks for coming through with the speaky pipes. All right. Here is speaky pipe numero 1. All right, and this is from Anonymous.
Hi, ladies. I have some tea out of a smaller correctional center in Louisiana, so it's not Angola and not Hunt. A few nights ago, there was a guard who attacked an inmate, a trustee, with a chair. He threw the chair at him. The guard goes back in the guard shack. A few minutes later, the guard comes out with a bat, attacks the trustee again. And I will give LDOC their props. They did walk out the guard as soon as this happened. A few minutes later, when they found out what happened, they did walk him out, and he was actually terminated. And I think that is not a common thing with LDOC, but he was terminated. So that is the tea of the guard attacking the trustee with the chair and the bat. And it is out of one of the smaller correctional centers. I don't want to say their name because I don't want to put them on blast like that, because this incident did not hit the news, unfortunately.
Why is there a bat?
That's what I want to know.
That's my fair. I'm like, wait, why the fuck is there a bat?
I mean, you know that they have pepper spray. We know they have other
They
means.
have like batons.
Batons, but why a baseball bat?
The fuck is wrong?
So that must
with
be hidden
Louisiana?
somewhere so they can, yeah. So apparently we're going to batting practice while being incarcerated. Okay.
Good to hear that, although it didn't make public news, they did the right thing.
Yeah, they did terminate this person, which clearly is a good move because we see sometimes people get terminated or they don't get punished.
In today's
and then they
climate,
get promoted.
you need to.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Oh.
So thank you for that tea, honeys, and I'm very sorry to hear that happened to somebody. Keep in mind, you're using weapons to go after somebody who is defenseless.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah. All right, and here is our second one. This one is from Sheena. Oh, I hit the wrong link. Sorry. Okay, here we go.
Hi, ladies. This is Sheena. I just want to jump on here and say hi. I just got done listening to the last pod, and the woman that left the speaky pipe talking about the Brooks gentleman and how, these COs are supposed to be, looking over and, protecting and making sure that things run smoothly in the prison systems and, everything like that. And it just reminded me of a conversation that me and my oldest son just had. He just graduated from criminal justice, and we went out for pizza, and I asked him, I said, are you nervous, about, getting your first actual job, in a jail? He's actually going to start at a jail first. And his answer to me was, yeah, I'm nervous, but I'm nervous because I want to do a good job. I'm nervous that I just want to make a difference. And it just made my heart melt when he said that. I'm so proud of him. He's such a good boy, and I know that he is going to be one of the few correctional officers that actually care and have a heart and is going to do right by his job and, the badge that he wears, and not take advantage of, his position and what he does. So, but I just wanted to jump on here and say that I love you guys, and I can't wait to hear next week's podcast. Have a great weekend. Bye.
Thank you, honeys. Thank you, Sheena.
That is so
And
exciting to hear. And there's a very few amount of people like your son, but it's so exciting to hear that your son is going into that field and going to go into it with the mindset of trying to make a difference and do the right thing. And that's what we need. And
yeah,
that's hopefully what we'll have one day is fully staffs that want to do right.
not just do power plays and just flex their muscle, It's very refreshing to hear that, because you hear why people get into criminal justice sometimes, and it's a little disturbing to hear that he wants to make a difference, that he wants to, change the way that correctional officers are even seen and help people, become better people, rather than just, oh, I'm here to kick ass and punish people. I think it's a breath of fresh air to hear that happening. And I hope more and more of the younger generation can take that attitude when it comes to corrections and criminal justice and things like that.
Agreed.
Yeah. So thank you for sharing that with us, Sheena, because Lord knows we don't need COs like the ones in the Robert Brooks case. We need COs more like your son, for sure. So congratulations to him, and we wish him all the best. And you have to keep us posted on how it goes for him. So, all right. Well, that was the 2 speaky pipes that I had, darling. I guess we have a long potty pod today. For our peeps, since we won't be here again. We will not be here next week, guys. I know we're gonna miss you too, I promise. But we'll be back. We're just taking a little 1-week vacation, and if you miss us a lot, we'll be on Patreon doing our mini pods, and extra stuff. So come over there and hang out with us. We got 14. Well, it will be 14 episodes next week. So. Hope you guys can come over there and join us for some, because we obviously wrote down some things to talk about for our Patreon chats. Yeah, literally. Period.
Yeah.
Sorry. All right, so we will have a meme of the week for you guys, and on Wednesday. And we hope you guys have a wonderful week.
Yes.
Paige, do you have anything else before we close out?
That's it.
That's all, folks. All right. Well, we hope you guys have a wonderful week. Enjoy your hump day with us. We love you guys so much. Thank you for getting us here to 42. And our thoughts and prayers go out with everyone in California affected by the wildfires. So pray it up. All right. Love you guys. Have a great week and weekend. Besitos para ti. All right. Love you guys.
Bye.
Bye.